back. We had a small hiatus, but we're back.
We had a bunch of stuff.
Just a busy week. Honestly, April was such a terrible month. I
Yeah,
just
you had
had
your car broken into, right?
I had so much shit go down. It was just I was just so busy all the time, and then I was working a bunch, and then my car got stolen, and that was very fun.
Oh, it got stolen. It wasn't even
Yeah.
broken into.
You didn't know? You thought it got broken into?
I thought it just got broken into.
No, it got straight up stolen.
Oh my god, how long was
Yeah.
it gone?
Hi, whoa, it's Future Weston editing the video. Right here, the audio cuts out. That's weird. What a little thing. But what you guys missed is my car got stolen and it was gone for a whole day. Isn't that cool? Anyways, back to the boys. Whoop!
Day.
Oh,
So I had it. Lisette was gone. She was in Texas, and I had it for the night before, and I went like grocery shopping at like 7 or 8, and I parked it, and then I had to go to bed, and I just was like kind of tired, so I went to bed pretty early.
yeah.
Woke up, went to work the next day. I'm at work. I get a call around like 4:30, and it's Lisette. And she's like, "Where are you? Are you safe?" I was like, "What? Yeah, like I'm stocking bananas. Like I'm chilling. What's up?" And she was like, oh my god, our car got stolen." I was just my heart, and I was like, "What?"
Did they
And
bust a
she,
window?
oh yeah, dude, they
Oh,
fucked it up.
that's
They
brutal.
they did whatever they wanted to it. Did I not send you the video of it?
No, you didn't.
Oh,
You
I
have to
thought I
send that to
did.
me after this.
So I guess we had a Hyundai, and I guess this is like for some reason this is like street knowledge, but it is not knowledge to those who buy Hyundais. But if you break the back window, the alarm won't go off.
Oh my god.
So they can just get in. So that's exactly what they did. They broke the back window, alarms didn't go off. They tore that like all the electrical shit out from it and then hot wired it to start it. And then
Holy
they drove it.
shit.
Yeah. Dude, they fucked it up. The back left taillight looks like if like the Hulk grabbed it and tried to peel it off.
What?
Yeah, I feel like they were driving intoxicated or something, and clipped like a
Clipped the
wall
car,
or
yeah. Something
something
like
or
that.
hit something. Because I was just like, there's just no way they just did that by like hand. So it looks like they might have hit something, and then they just took like chip bags and opened it up and poured it everywhere. Onions. Yeah,
For good
dude.
measure.
Yeah, like hot Cheetos everywhere all over the car, and there was dirt everywhere. So I'm also like, did these guys go fucking off-roading with our car? Then they left these little miniature posters of this rapper, this like SoundCloud rapper, of like 50 of them all throughout the car, and it has like his Twitter, his Facebook, and his Instagram, and the poster is like him holding a gun, and
Oh
it's
my
just like,
god.
okay, yeah, it was something
Fuck.
else. I was like, Jesus.
Jesus.
I wasn't
Time to
that
get out of
mad.
Milwaukee.
No, dude, I'm donezo. I hate this city.
Milwaukee sucks.
There's just there's now and then, since it's getting to good weather, all the crime is really starting to get going. So you just hear sirens every
All the
night,
time.
every hour. Every hour
Jesus.
there's 4 or 5 sirens going off.
That sounds terrible. That sounds like a
No.
shit city.
Yeah, it's not that fun. Can't wait to go home. Woo!
Yeah, I haven't had anything like that happen. We just got
No.
done moving Livin.
Nice.
She's all moved in.
Wow.
That's why I was like, this is not happening on Sunday.
No, yeah, I know. I liked how, okay, let's record Tuesday, and then Tuesday would just go to like 9 p.m. and I'd be
Yeah.
like, hey, so we're not recording today, huh?
Yeah.
And then you were like, Sunday we will. And then Sunday is Mother's Day,
Yeah.
and we just again waited until midnight to be like, hey, we should try and record. I was just like, dude, we gotta get this done, or else we're
Yeah.
gonna just stop doing them.
Yeah. No, I'm glad
Uh,
we're getting back on it. I'm
yeah,
ready.
yeah.
Um,
You want to introduce the book, I guess?
sure. Well, oh shit. Do I? What's it called again?
Is it Kill or
Kill or
Be
Be
Killed?
Killed. Yes, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kill or Be Killed by Ed Brubaker.
And that's actually funny that I don't remember it because I read it twice.
It's good.
I had enough time that I read it both times.
I've read it a few times because honestly, sometimes that I forget that I've read it, and I pick it up and I'll read it through it again, and I'm like, God, that was a good book, and
Yeah.
then I won't touch it for a while. because I only have the first 2 volumes, and I know there's more,
Yeah.
but I have not read the other ones.
Well,
so I'm
I only
like,
read it twice because I was like, I'm forgetting about it. Like, case in point, I just forgot the damn title.
yeah,
Because I read it and then we took like a couple weeks off from recording, so I just was
Mm.
like not prepared for it. So I reread it on the flight out to Spokane. It's short first volume.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's like those things with indie books, especially. A lot of indie books are very short
Yep.
because, you know, those first volumes or first issues are straight off of like the pitch document the writer throws at the company.
Right.
So he throws the pitch and the company's like, all right, write it and make it live. And they're like, oh, okay, well, it's only like 30 pages or 100 pages.
Yeah.
Like, have you ever heard of Saga?
Uh-uh.
I feel like you have. It's like a Romeo and Juliet story, but in space, and there's like Civil War. But almost every volume that are out is only like 100 issues or so, maybe or 100 pages or so.
Yeah.
Maybe once or twice they break that barrier, but they're like pretty short,
Wow.
and they very quick and very to the point stories.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Would, oh, what?
it was fine.
Yeah,
I didn't love this one.
you didn't.
No.
Was it too dark for you?
No, it wasn't even too dark. It wasn't even as dark as I thought it was going to be. It was
Yeah.
kind of like gripey, like teenager angsty.
Oh,
Like the writing just felt so like, the world's so bad.
yeah,
The only
yeah,
way to beat it is to get bad.
yeah.
Uh,
Maybe like a little too much cynicism.
yeah, like too much, just like, and a little preachy at times too. Like where you're just like, bro, like there's too much going on here.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was cool. Like once it kind of got rolling, then I was like, okay, like I'm kind of, once it got out of that and it got into the struggle of him, figuring out that the demon was real and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That was more interesting to me than like the like moody protagonist like riding subways around the city and thinking. I was just like, what is this? This is like a
Yeah.
like a like a beta male's wet dream.
Yeah. Beta male? You're gonna get us in trouble one of these days.
Well, you know what I mean, though. Where it's just
First
like,
with the sweaty nerd shit, and now beta male, and people are gonna be like, "Man, these
which-
guys are kind of too far right for me." Like,
no,
no.
no, not in like just in the way that he's like, and I guess it makes sense because we all do it, but like he's like fantasizing about like beating people up on a subway or like,
Oh,
and
I
then
don't
it,
do that.
which
Do
I
you do
actually
that?
liked that it like later on transitioned to him fantasizing about just straight up like shooting them because he's
Yeah.
like, well, they bad enough? Like I don't really know like what
Yeah.
constitutes evil enough to be, saving my life and
Yeah.
also, knocking someone off essentially.
Yeah. I think it's a very cool concept
Yeah.
of like the demon wise.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, the story is a guy tries to kill himself and it does not go well and he ends up surviving and it pisses off this demon who collects souls. So the demon says, either you're gonna kill people and collect souls for me or I'm gonna kill you. It's like I think that is a very cool
Yeah.
concept. It's almost like a Punisher who's forced to be Punisher
Yeah.
almost.
Or like
Whereas like,
Ghost
Punisher,
Rider-esque.
yeah, yeah. Whereas Punisher's like, I just do it because, my family and vengeance. This guy's like, if I don't do this, this demon's gonna drag me to
Yeah.
hell. And I do not want to go to hell.
And he gets all
Um,
sick and stuff
yeah.
like that. Like,
When he doesn't do it the first
yeah.
couple weeks and
That's what I
like the
mean. Like
demon
that
gives him
stuff was really
cancer,
interesting.
basically. Yeah. Yeah, I thought Kill or Be Killed was my first like introduction into the indie comic scene. I had read some indie comics before, but they were not on this level of like mature. Indie comics are really known for being mature, because
Okay.
they're not held down by being like, superheroes like
Like
Captain America.
franchise stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they don't gotta appease because like little kids also read Captain America and Superman, so it's like you don't want to see those guys crossing people's necks up.
Mhm.
But with Kill or Be Killed, it's like they had free range to do it. So it was my first introduction into the indie scene, and I could see where you're thinking like it's a little it's a little on the nose with how like
Yeah.
depressed the main character is.
Yeah, it's a very show or tell don't show.
Tell don't show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like monologue after monologue of
Oh
like,
yeah.
okay, we get it. Like you're unhappy with the state of the world. We got it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially in the first few pages before he like attempts to kill
Yeah.
himself. It's
Yeah.
very like
It just starts off like
this
so
guy's
strongly, like,
yeah.
oh God, this just reeks of like a teenager writing this. How old is this dude who wrote it?
Brewbreaker is like old. He's like dad's age.
No
He's been in the
way,
comics
really?
for a while. Dude, Brewbreaker created the Winter Soldier where
That's
Bucky
wild.
comes back and he did the Captain America Winter Soldier in the comics, and that shit is good.
Yeah. That's so
But
weird. Is this like one of his like first type works, or
um
am I just
I-
being like
no.
severely
I
outdating
know.
myself?
No, I think he's had other indie work that I haven't read. Um, but like Kill or Be Killed was his like most recent one because I got this, and when did it come out? Like 20 something,
Hang on, let me I've got it right now. 2016 is when it was first
2016.
published.
Yeah, because I remember I was still in high school when I read it, and I was like, wow. So that's probably why I connected with it well, because high school Weston was a little loser. I was a little loser, and, and I was like, this guy's got it rough, just like me. As I went home to our mom and dad's giant ass house with my Xbox waiting for me.
Yeah, it's a
Nah,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like it's kind of like, I guess beta male is not the right term, but it's like that kind of like you're saying, like loser-ish, like down on your luck type. And right out of the gate at least. It was funny like watching him like when he went to the shooting range, and like you can kind of tell where the story might go, like where it's
hmm
kind of itching to go, where he might be starting to, like already starting to kind of lose control of like his own sense of what's deserving of being killed and stuff like that, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
even when he was like patrolling the news after his first kill, like trying to figure out more and more about like, okay, well, like was it actually worth it and stuff like that. And then it ends up leading, his first kill ends up leading to like the breaking up of a child sex ring or something like that.
hmm
So he
hmm
was like, oh, okay, I did well on this one.
yeah,
But his second kill, we haven't really seen where that will go.
yeah,
But for now, like, he kind of got into a bad tussle where, he killed a bodyguard of some girls essentially.
yeah. The
Uh,
Russian guy.
yeah, of probably the Russian mob is what he's thinking, and it's what we
Yeah,
all think as we're reading. And but then one of the strippers gets out and starts attacking him, and he shoots her too in the
yeah,
abdomen. We don't know like what becomes of her, but like you can tell his like lines are already blurring.
yeah.
Like and he's not even phased. Like he thinks about it a little bit, but then he just like gets back to his apartment and just starts lying to his two like friends and roommates, like
Yeah,
right
where
off the
he's
bat.
been. Yeah, yeah.
So
I think that's like I liked that moment of him messing up with the strippers.
yeah,
Because in the beginning, honestly, he was very likable because he was all sad and stuff.
sure.
And then when he had the demons happened, he became likable because you're like, oh, this guy's in a predicament, isn't he? And he became like a part of a very cool story. And then when it ends on the cliffhanger of the accidental killing of the bodyguard and
Yeah,
maybe the stripper, but I don't want to spoil it for you.
right.
Um, it just kind of like threw it even into a more twist where you're like, oh no,
Yeah.
like damn, like this sounds terrible.
Well, and what I'm sure will come into play later on is his own good slash evil paradigm. Like is
Yeah,
it are his actions constituting enough that like he could be someone who could be killed by him type thing, you know what I mean, in order to get an extra month.
yeah, yeah. I know. I wish I I wish I read all the other volumes because I think it's like completed. I don't think it's
Yeah,
going
it's
anymore.
done. It
Yeah.
wrapped up in 2018, and there's
Yeah.
4 volumes.
Okay. Yeah. So I've only read 2 volumes. I wish I would have. I wish I would have read more because now that you like, rereading it and now talking about it with you, it's like I wish I knew how the story ends. It continues in the second volume, and
Yeah,
then in the second volume it ends on another cliffhanger, and I'm like, God, I wish I knew it ended so I could have like more information to talk
yeah.
about.
I mean, it's the from what I'm reading here, it seems to have done pretty well, uh, selling wise.
Yeah.
It, I guess from you might know more about this. It seems like there's a big drop in the second issue after the first issue. Typically,
Oh,
I'm
and
I'm reading that the industry average is about 30%. Like most
uh,
people don't pick up the second issue.
yeah, and sales.
Yeah, but this one managed to kick it at about 20% rather than 30, so came in 10%
Yeah.
higher. So
Yeah.
it
Well,
must be good, and it as it's saying right here I'm just reading off the Wikipedia page. It's yeah, the whole series sold pretty close to The Walking Dead.
well,
So
it's a I mean, it's a pretty like I said, it's a pretty interesting concept, I think. And
yeah,
I feel like that sold it, and then also the Brew Breaker name probably sold it too
sure.
cuz he has a lot of good uh he's like, really well known for creating the Winter Soldier storyline.
Yeah,
And then also he did like a really long run on Daredevil. And
yeah. I'm seeing the
it was a
Daredevil stuff here too.
yeah, it was a really good run on Daredevil too. I'm pretty sure they used art from his run in the Netflix Daredevil series
Oh,
when
really?
they were like, yeah, it's like a small little snippet of a scene where they're talking about Daredevil, and this guy throws like a newspaper on the ground, and the newspaper is like, Hell's Kitchen has a new devil, and like question mark, and
Yeah,
it's like a witness painting of the Daredevil, but that's like an actual artwork from the series that he wrote. So I feel like his name alone probably carried this book into
yeah.
being sold. And then it's not a bad story either. Like,
No, and I'm
you
sure it
know,
gets like more in
yeah,
depth, like with the later volumes.
definitely because in the second volume they introduce the like FBI, you know,
Sure.
as they always kind of do with these stories is
Right.
like there's always a cop that's on his ass.
Yeah.
And they do that in the second volume, and she's actually really fun, and it kind of creates that cat and mouse game have, while also throwing in that theme of like, this guy's gonna go to hell if he doesn't do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have to check out the other ones, I would
More.
say, right? Like we can't not, especially if we start a series
Yeah.
like this. But we might have to take breaks in between
Yeah.
because it is just like I don't know if it was just like I said that specific series or that run, that volume, I guess, um, that just kind of was too on the nose and too
Hmm.
like, here's the theme, here it is. makes you go like, okay,
Read it.
yeah, exactly. Okay,
Understand it.
no,
It's
okay,
like
all right,
shit. I
okay,
get
okay.
it.
um, but it wasn't like, and in the artwork was kind of interesting. I don't know who.
Oh,
Sean Phillips is the
I think,
artist on this one.
yeah, I think they've worked together before, him and Brubaker,
Yeah,
on Marvel, on one of his Marvel series. I like the art a lot. I kind of like that sort of like gritty art like that
yeah,
has to fit these kind of stories. It's almost the same as that Batman Long Halloween, Like
yeah,
the art has to be so specific to the story that's being told.
yeah. There are certain scenes where I was like, bro, what is going on with this? For some reason, like it just looked dopey as hell.
Yeah,
But all of the violence looks like you're saying. All the violence looks really good in it.
yeah. Yeah, this was your first like violent comic book, huh?
Yeah, I'm looking at. So he did some work on Marvel Zombies,
No.
but I'm not seeing anything else where I don't know that they would be intersecting. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was like an interesting, more a slower pace on the artwork than I've usually taken.
Yeah.
I liked that there were, I don't know what the panel would probably be called, you would know it. I liked all the panels where there was like words on one side of the page, like all the
Oh,
way down, like
yeah.
during his like big monologues type thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then like a big beautiful like scene in the second one.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah. Those.
it was funny because I was like the monologue part I could do without, but I'm sitting here like looking at the scene like artistry,
Yeah.
and that shit is really nice. Like that was
Yeah.
great. So it
That's like
was,
like a splash page or a bleeding page. Either one. One that just like takes up an entirety of a page, like 1 or 2 pages is
yeah.
known as that. But
y-
like that's the thing with that kind of art and writing have to like complement each other. Like even though you were like I could do without the monologue, it's like the monologue also kind of feeds the art that you're looking at
Yeah.
too, and it kind of gives it its tone almost. The writing does,
Yeah.
and as well as the art gives the writing its tone. Because if you just read like something, Billy goes to the and Billy's got an AK going to the store, you're like, oh, this
Right.
doesn't fit.
Right.
So like each of them have to complement each other really hard.
Yeah. There were certain scenes where that made sense. Where like you, and especially when he's talking about like wanting to be someone who has influence in the world around him, and then in those scenes, uh you can tell that like he like and especially like after the first kill and even after the second kill when he's like bloodied up and walking through town, like people just don't care, don't care like at all.
Ooh, ooh, you want me
Just
to cut
walking
that out?
about doing their day, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You want me to cut that out, huh?
No, you can leave it in. It's just a little
I know.
little Rona.
The second we started recording, somebody got on their leaf blower outside, and I was like, God. I was like, that's gonna get picked right up, isn't
It's
it?
gonna be
Because
really
this.
nice when you're here and we
Oh
can, because we could set straight up. Anyways, we can talk this off screen, but um,
no, this is all right. I
we
can
can
keep
set
this in.
nice recordings. We'll have a
Yeah,
nice setup here.
definitely. Yeah, take like a little bit for me. I'll have to get set up and all that. But
Absolutely.
once we like get a room going and get the equipment needed, it will be just so much better. But
Yeah.
we still do a pretty good job with just this.
I'm pretty impressed by Riverside.fm. I would love for them to sponsor us and give us recording title for free,
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
So I don't have to pay
yeah.
your
I mean,
stupid monthly thing.
yeah, it would just be so insane if riverside.fm/studio would just want to come and look at two bros in a comic and decide to give us a
Our
little
flagship
sponsoring.
podcast.
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's so many. You know what's crazy is I was looking at our podcast and I couldn't find it at first on Spotify because
Yeah.
for some reason Spotify doesn't let you like have like it's not like a Twitter page where you're logged into the account itself. You
Right.
can only just like upload, off of that like sister site.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find it, and I just searched comic, and there's just so many comic podcasts
Oh yeah.
that have like sponsors and stuff like that too, and like have that many like big like numbers or anything, and I'm like, man,
Man,
man, get me in there,
man, get me in there.
you
Yeah,
know?
not too many people care about. I mean, like even like I'm reading the sales of the Killer Be Killed. I mean, they only moved 23,000 copies.
Yeah,
Think about that in comparison to like I just read today that Resident Evil 8 has already shipped like 3 million worldwide.
yeah,
I mean, that's
that's
a crazy comparison between two different like fields of entertainment.
definitely.
It's
And
just
honestly, the movies, dude, the movies kind of save the industry
yeah,
because like you were maybe, I mean, those kind of numbers are like small for comic,
yeah.
but I mean, damn, a couple years ago, early 2000s, those kind of numbers were like, whoa, we got a number one seller going on
Oh,
here.
really?
Yeah, I mean, comics are still a pretty like small medium.
Yeah, it's pretty niche or
Yeah,
niche.
it's
That's the word.
definitely it's definitely the movies and the TV shows that pull in the big views and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But then, like, if you were to hand somebody a Captain America comic after they watched the Captain America movie, they'd be like, I'm not that interested.
Sure.
So it's like still the comics do not sell as well as they could be because, like, there's some pretty good stories out there on these pages that like deserve attention and have a lot of work and a lot of cool artwork and cool writing and cool stories, but
Yeah. Yeah, there
they
were
just still
definitely
are so small.
some panels in this that like really sold it for me. Like the
Mhm.
grittiness and stuff like that. The first
Yeah.
kill is obviously really fucking good. Like very
Yeah.
well. Like you can tell like you can almost see his hand shaking.
Yeah.
And
An HBO show
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
And like I wouldn't be surprised if HBO or Amazon picks this book up in a couple of years and makes a series out of it.
Something like that. Yeah.
I could see that. I mean, they're doing it so much with Preacher, Walking Dead, The Boys, and now they've got the Invincible animated show.
Yeah. Have you watched that
Like,
at all yet?
yes. Have you watched it all?
I have. I have finished it.
Nice.
It
Oh,
is very
dude.
good.
Let's take a small little tangent. That animation is so nice
It's
to
so
look at.
reminiscent of like the old school Justice League
Yeah,
animation,
it's
like the
so good.
90s, early 2000 TV show.
Yes, it's so good. And I watched that, and then you look at the modern animation of like Marvel currently,
Yeah.
at least, and it's dog shit.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, Amazon's a pretty big studio,
Right.
right? But maybe I don't think they're that big on like the TV show studio side.
Yeah.
Whereas like Marvel has the backing of like Disney and everything like that, which is an animation studio, and you guys can't get any sort of like income into animation studio to make amazing animation like
Yeah.
Invincible has. Like it boggles my mind. I
Yeah.
I think if Marvel got good animation like Invincible, you'd have like a number one animated show in a heartbeat.
Yeah. If it was, I don't know, Marvel is gonna start hitting a wall anytime soon here.
Uh,
For
Probably.
sure. For
I
sure.
talked to I talked to mom and dad about the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, and I was like, "Did you guys like it?" And they were like, "Mom was like, nah, it just got too woke for me."
Oh, God.
And I was like, yeah, when at the end there, and she was like, "That big old speech he did, and it was just so preachy." And I was like, "Well,
But it's so good.
yeah, yeah."
But it was such a good thing to preach about.
Definitely. I was like, I
Fine.
mean, it
Fine.
had to happen.
Fine.
Like,
I mean,
it's
it's not
a
for everyone and stuff like
no.
that. And my whole thing is just like at a certain point, the superheroes dry up, get a little boring. That's why the
Definitely.
interesting thing to do is stuff like The Boys and Invincible,
Yeah,
and kind of flip it on its head a little bit.
yeah.
You know,
There,
try
there
a
are,
different angle.
yeah, there are times though where that kind of view on superheroes can get like tiresome though. Like evil Superman is just so played out that
Sure.
it's like it's almost like, okay, what if you did Superman was just a nice guy, like what if you did one about Superman being just Superman? But between, Zack Snyder doing the whole Nightmare Superman, and then you had the Injustice video games that spawned the Injustice comics, and then you have Homelander and the Boys, and it's
Yeah.
always like, what if superheroes were dickheads? It's like, uh,
Yeah. If The Boys is a little more in depth, I think,
yes,
than just flat out evil superheroes, because
yeah,
they're just human superheroes.
yeah,
Like that's what's cool about it, is that
yeah,
all the same flaws that humans have, like romance and image issues or whatever, right? They all apply to superheroes too, and they can just as much get their heads messed with as any other person can.
yeah.
All
I,
that stuff is interesting.
I think at least the Boys TV show does a way better job than the
Yes.
Boys comic does. I don't know
Oh,
if you've
I don't
ever
know.
read we'll have to read it someday, but the
Yeah, we'll have to
boys
check it
the
out.
the boys comic is so on the nose of like bad guy superheroes. There are
Yeah.
so many scenes of like just like over the top
Just
evil
being
shit.
bad to be bad.
Yeah, just so over the top evil shit that you're like, I get it. All right. If superheroes were real, they would all do a line of cocaine. That makes sense. Like, all right. Whereas like the boys, like you said, does really good like with the mental and the image and the
Yeah.
love and that side of like if you were a superhero, I mean that's probably a lot of pressure, and if you were treated a certain way and you
Yeah.
have all these powers, you're probably gonna be like, I don't deserve to be treated these ways, and
Yeah. Well,
rip a guy in
Homelander's the most
half.
interesting character.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
so
and he's the
fun.
big evil. Yeah,
Yeah. But he's got so much wrong with him. Like it's
yeah,
just like I said, that human thing of like,
mhm.
Homelander's really, as far as we can tell, only evil because of the shit that he experienced as a human,
As a kid,
Yeah,
yeah, that
exactly. Yeah.
I feel
But
like that
anyways,
kind of plays into like this book too,
yeah.
because that's like where you said the moral like ambiguity of it, where he's not sure like who to kill. Like that's
Hmm.
the if you or me had this going on with
Yeah.
us, this demon being like, you gotta off people. I definitely would be like him, where I'm like, well, who do I know is bad in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
world? Like,
Especially if they're giving you a specific, like, you have to kill evil people. Like, you have to
yeah,
take bad
yeah.
souls. What do you mean
That's
a
what I
bad
thought it was
soul?
funny too, because it's like it's a demon, and the demon's like, "Oh, I only collect bad guys."
Yeah, a little weird.
So
But, like,
no
it made
no
sense.
innocent
Like, it's good
killings. Yeah,
enough. Like, I don't need it to make too much sense.
no, no. But I would definitely be like this guy, where I'm Google searching like, rapist in my area.
Yeah,
Like, you know
exactly.
what I mean? Like I would just be walking on the street and be like, "Hey, have you ever stolen a car,
Yeah.
a Hyundai, specifically from a white kid in Wisconsin?" And they'd be like, "Yeah." Think again.
Think again. Next time, don't.
Yeah, but yeah, just the just the moral haze of like
Yeah.
figuring out who to kill would just be so much stress. And I
Well,
think it does. This book did a really good job of like showing it and being
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
he,
It's already getting to him. He's
yeah,
already lying to his friends. He's already, going out at ungodly times every night and stuff like that, and then like kind of being defensive when he gets caught. Like he's already burning bridges.
yeah.
Even their short little fling just gets like
Oh, him
ended
and the
because
girlfriend.
yeah,
Yeah,
because she knows that he's lying to her. Like she
yeah.
just is like, no, I'm not gonna buy that. So we're not, they end up not seeing each other anymore because of it.
I thought that was messed up, man. How you gonna steal your homie's girl like that?
Well, yeah. Well, that's again. It's like he after that first kill, he just like he's like, I'm invincible. Like I feel it, especially after it gets validated. After he's like,
Yeah,
not only did I get a kill and save my life for a month, I got a kill on a dude that led to a child ring or a child sex ring getting busted up. Right.
definitely.
I'm
Yeah.
feeling on top of the world. I'm gonna take this girl shooting. We're gonna have sex in the back of the cab. Like all that shit. Right.
Yeah, he really just says like, "Fuck it, I'm in."
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. He signs up for it like
Yeah,
immediately.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There are moments though when it's like you said, a little too much on the nose, and you're like, "Shit," which is like,
Yes.
as a kid, I didn't notice that because as a high schooler, like you're pretty impressionable, and I had been reading just superhero books, so I'm used to like dark shit happening, but
Yeah.
not that dark of shit. This book just straight up was like, "Hey, he shot a guy. How do you feel?" And I was just like, "Wow,"
Wow.
and I was super into it, and wow, this book is so mature. I'm such a good reader. But then like rereading it now as I'm older, I can see moments where I'm like, "All right,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
a
where
little
the
a
the
lot."
kind of like and I guess I've never written a comic and
Mm,
I've never tried writing stories either, right? So
yeah,
I would imagine it's a different medium and it's probably like tougher to convey those story points in
definitely.
a meaningful manner, right?
Because
Um
you don't have like this movie scenes filled with
yes.
great acting and also a song, and then the
Yeah.
lighting's just like that. Like, yeah, I feel
Or
like
even a
that's very
book where
hard.
you have like ample space, like no artistry, right? You just have
Hmm.
or artwork, but you just have a paragraph where you can devote to the state of the city or whatever, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't have to have the character be the one complaining about the state of the city.
No, yeah. You have to you have like a good page or two to
Yeah.
really. Yeah, when I tried, when I oh still am, but when I tried writing a comic, I found that to be the hardest. Is that I kept wanting to describe things in third person.
Yeah.
Whenever I had a character like narrating or something like that, I wanted to revert back to like high school like essay writing.
Yeah.
And I realized like I can't do that. Like I have to talk through this character basically,
Yeah.
and that's where you can get caught up really hard in that sort of monologuing too.
Yeah. Yeah, and
There's this.
that's what makes that's what makes me wonder what the other ones are like, what the later volumes are like.
Definitely.
Maybe it kind of gets away from that like preachiness and more into the like what we're kind of discussing, the like the little hints of you know like we said, the blurred lines happening.
Yeah. I think from what I remember, I didn't read the second volume on this way around. I only read the first one because that's like all I knew that we were gonna read.
Yeah.
But from what I in the second volume is that um, it definitely gets um, like more into him fully accepting being that role and
Sure.
that guy, and you kind of lose that moral uh, haze that he deals with. I think it's only until I think he screws up. He screws up again in the second volume, but way worse than the stripper situation.
Sure.
But I found like through a little bit of the second volume, you lose that theme through him, and you're like, well now he's just doing it because he's like, I'm on top of the world.
Yeah.
I'm taking out bad guys left and right, and it's like, so you kind of lose it. But I know it does pick up really well in like the later half of the second volume. But now I'm like, I gotta get these third and fourth volumes. Like I want to see how it ends now. Now that we're talking about it.
Yeah, well, we'll have to come back to it, and maybe we do it on our own too, personally.
Yeah,
But we'll see. We'll see how long we record and stuff like that. Keep doing these things, because if we do it long
definitely.
enough, there's no reason not to, right?
I know. We bring this up every time, but I always think about like, what's it gonna be like if we ever hit like episode like 100?
Yeah.
Like we're gonna have read 100 comics, which isn't a lot because I've read 100 already in my life. But it's like
Sure.
for you as a newcomer, like 100 is a lot of reading to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah. Well, and it also makes me wonder what my like tastes will evolve and stuff like that. Like what
Hmm.
kind of things will come up that like maybe I'll look back on something like this and be like, "Oh, it actually like didn't it wasn't like preachy compared to the rest of, the 99 comics that I read." This
Yeah,
or whatever, right?
yeah. I think you'll definitely like the next book we're reading, um, because it's like damn near a classic by now.
Yeah.
And it's just very it's just good. It's just a nice retelling of the character in the modern age, and he's like back to his kind of like creational roots a little, but put in the 2000s, and it's very fun. I feel like you'll read that and you'll be like, this is my style,
Sure.
because it's got that like epic storytelling that you like, that you've seen from Planet Hulk and stuff
Right.
like that, but it also has almost that grounded reality that you're looking for too, that we find in this book,
Hmm.
and it does a very good job of mixing them because it's still superhero, but it's like superhero right now.
Right.
What if they existed right now and you would like it?
Is it
I think.
connected to the and we're talking about the Amazing Spider-Man,
Or yeah, the Ultimate Spider-Man.
Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Um
it's
is it
connected.
connected to like the rest of the Marvel universe, or is it
Uh,
just on its own?
no, it is connected to the Ultimate Universe.
Okay.
So the Ultimate Universe is its whole It's this whole thing. It's in like the early 2000s. When Marvel gave like the Fantastic Four and Spider-Man to like Sony and all that to save
Yeah.
their ass. So on the comic side of things, they were like, we are not making sales at all. We have to do something to make like money, or else we already made a few money off of these movies. So then they were
Yeah.
like, well, what if we did superheroes right now? And what if they like existed in 2002 when they did it all? So they were like, okay, well, if we want to introduce readers to a new universe, how do we get them to a new universe? And they were like, why don't we introduce them with our most famous superhero, Spider Man? So then they first did the Ultimate Spider Man, and everybody was like, this is good as shit.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, we got something here. And then they did the entire Ultimate Universe that ran from the Ultimate Universe ran from like 2002 to 2015. So like
Yeah.
it went a while.
Secret Wars is the ending
Yeah,
storyline.
yeah. Secret Wars was the ending storyline where they destroyed the Ultimate Universe. But then in another recent big galactic universe, they brought back the Ultimate Universe. So like it got destroyed, but I think they're bringing it back to
Yeah.
like the beginning.
Yeah, it starts off straight up with Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, dude, if you're gonna do a whole new universe, like you might as well do it with the most recognizable face you have.
Sure.
Like this was before Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man, you know? Like I feel like if they were to do this in 2010, they would more than likely start off with like
Sure.
something like that. But this was before they had the success of the movies, so they realistically had the success of Spider-Man only. And they were like, he's been our longest selling, he's been our best selling, let's do it. And it did really well. And I like the Ultimate Universe. A lot of people do not like the Ultimate Universe,
Hmm.
but I think it's pretty fun. There's a lot of moments where people are like, this is terrible, because there's like Captain America. Captain America's fighting this like alien, and the alien's like, you should just surrender, Captain. And Captain America's like, surrender? You think this A on my head stands for France? And it's like, oh,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, because they wanted to do like the boys and stuff like that, you know, like if superheroes existed in the real world, like some of them would be government entities, you know,
Yeah.
or some of them would be dickheads. So what they did with Captain America was like, dude, he's a guy from the 40s. Like people from the 40s in World War II were a
True.
different breed of
Right.
people. And like he's just now out of ice. You think he'd just be like, well, I'm a nice guy. No, he'd be the soldier from WW2,
Right.
you know? He's a little bit of a
Well, I'm
bit of
glad
a
they didn't go with
character.
that one in the
The
MCU.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
The Steve Rogers cap is my favorite cap.
Yeah. Once you if we ever do read like the Ultimates and stuff like that, you will see like the influence those books actually had on the MCU.
Yeah.
Like specifically with designs. A lot of the character costumes in the movies are like straight out of the Ultimate Universe comic book.
Right.
Like Captain America's helmet head, his little Harley Davidson head.
Yeah.
That was a design in the Ultimate Universe in like 2005. They introduced that because it was like, well, Cap's been around now for a year or two in the Ultimate Universe, so like, wouldn't he have an updated costume that's more like military like?
Mhm.
And they were like, here he is with a helmet, and then the MCU took it, and like that's the Captain America everybody knows.
Right.
Yeah, it's super cool. I think you'll like it.
The ultimate stuff when we get into
Yeah.
it. Well, cool.
Ugh.
That being said,
I know we're all over the place. Well, it's hard
Yeah.
to talk about just one singular short story. You know?
it was pretty short and I guess not that interesting.
No, yeah,
So
well,
probably
it's-
not, definitely not my favorite we've read. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously Planet Hulk is still just like fucking amazing in my book.
bonkers.
So far, it's by and far like my
Yeah.
favorite one.
Yeah.
I mean,
Planet Hulk is so
Batman
good.
was cool. I actually
Yeah.
talked to my barber today about the Batman, the Long Halloween.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd your barber say? Was he
Well,
like,
'cause
oh,
we
bro,
were
me too?
We were talking about just like series in general, and he was talking about the new Batman coming out with Patterson.
Yeah.
Patterson,
Yeah,
Pattinson,
Pattinson.
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 And I was like, oh yeah, that's like most likely they're gonna be doing the Long Halloween, like that type of a storyline
Yeah.
is what it seems like at least when I'm watching the trailer.
Hmm.
And
Definitely.
now
You
that
could
I
see it.
know what that means, because I read the comic myself. But yeah, this one just uh, it was fun when it was fun, and then when it wasn't, I was just like the parts that were not as fun. I was just like, oh god, like dude,
Yeah.
couldn't get away from it type thing.
It's like very flat. It's like you said where it shows,
Yeah.
show and doesn't tell.
Yes.
Whereas like Planet Hulk and even Halloween did a lot of, you know, don't show,
Or
tell,
no, the
you know,
opposite. It
or
tells.
opposite.
Yeah.
It tells and it
Yeah.
doesn't show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Long like I still think about that panel in the Long Halloween where he's talking to the Calendar Man, and like his cape turns into this like ethereal, like creeping tentacles almost, right?
Yeah.
Like the whole point of that book was that Batman is a scary force when you piss him off, essentially, right?
Yeah.
And not the whole point of that book, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That was like one of the big things that they did with Batman was make him terrifying, was make him
Definitely.
like a scary force. And there were a lot of good things that they did that just showed that they didn't have to tell me that Batman is pissed off because he can't catch this guy. Like
Mhm.
Batman was clearly pissed off by the actions he was taking and the look of his character and the art style and all those things, right? I could
Yeah.
tell tell where Batman's mindscape was. And granted, I can tell where what's this guy's name again? Dylan?
Yeah.
Yes, Dylan. I can tell where his headspace is too by looking at him, but I also have to read his 3 or 4 paragraphs of monologuing about how shitty society in the NRA is. And I'm just like, okay, we can agree on these points, but we
Yeah.
can also be annoyed that you're just
God.
like you're preaching to the choir a little bit.
I think the Planet Hulk did a really good job of doing that too with
Yeah,
the Banner and Hulk situation,
yeah, for sure.
where you know
Where
their internal
he would
battle.
turn and be Banner, and then
Hmm.
turn to the next panel and be back to Hulk. Yeah,
Back to
you're
Hulk.
right.
Yeah, I think like you said, it's a good story and it's a fun and like interesting story of like
Yeah,
the demon and all that, but it does fall flat into provoking a like a topic to discuss.
yeah,
You know,
and
other than
especially if
other than
like
moral like haste, like
yeah, well, and like you said, if you're gonna go for a more mature audience here, like which you are, right? This is a
yeah,
mature book and has very mature themes in it. Like treat us like that then, that I'm mature enough that I will understand a character's point of view without it spewing it out to me, right?
yeah.
Like I can understand what's happening with a character without it just going, this is exactly how I feel on this topic. Here I am.
Yeah.
Let me word
Yeah.
vomit at you for a paragraph and
Yeah.
ride this monorail.
Yeah. That's why like, it feels like we've talked completely about the book
Yeah,
already. And it's like cuz it was so short, but then also cuz the way it was presented was like here's the story, here's the theme.
yeah,
All right. Make sure you buy volume 2. It's out soon.
yeah.
And it's
Well, and
just
it
like
did. That's what's weird is that it did well. So maybe
yeah.
volume two is like, you sounded a little more interested in volume two than you do this one
Yeah.
for sure.
I think volume 2 is probably the better one because the story's already kicked off,
Yeah.
but then they add more elements like the FBI and one of the guys he kills
Hmm.
and stuff. Um, I think it probably sold so well because sometimes people, specifically like you said, like sweaty comic bros, they love that edgy shit where
Yeah.
they're like, oh, he kills people and has sex in the same series.
Yeah.
I'm in, and I want to read that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it can get lost behind that, but some indie books can, where they're more shock value than they are like a story, where you're like,
Yeah.
okay, this is just you know picture titties every other page, and then brains blown out. So,
Yeah.
alright,
Yeah,
that's like the Boys comic, at least to me. The Boys
really.
comic is so edgy that you're like, did some motherfucker from Reddit write this? Like, but it wasn't. It was a professional comic book writer did it. But sometimes it's so edgy that you're like, holy shit.
Like, this is too much.
Yeah, like who fucking
Let me
got a
look up
hold
The
of
Boys
this?
really quick.
The comic is insane. There's some scenes in the comic. There's literally a tie-in series to The Boys that's called Hero Gas,
Yeah.
and it's about how every year like the heroes all get together on this secret like Jeffrey Epstein island and just have an orgy together. And that's the whole tie-in series. But then like somebody finds out and they come and like kill all the superheroes on the orgy island. But it's like it's a little too much to where you're like, all right, this can only be so believable before I'm kind of turned off by how mature you want this book to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense. That I mean, even yeah, I'll have to look at this. I'm seeing that Herogasm thing right here. I'll have to just
Dude,
like put that aside for
it's
later.
do not let your girlfriend catch you reading Hero Gasm. It's borderline, dude. It's borderline like porn. It's like, good lord. But then it has a connection to this series that has like story, So it's like
Yeah.
it's the story to it, but it's just kind of covered in heroes jizzing, and you're like, all right,
Oh, they're saying it's gonna be in season 3.
Hero Gasm
Yeah.
in the TV show. They're gonna
Yeah.
do that. Are you serious? Oh, Jesus.
It'll be adapting the Herogasm, a storyline from the Boys comics centered around an annual superhero orgy.
Yeah, that's gonna. Well, maybe they'll do it better because I honestly think the TV show is better than the
The TV
comic.
show is really good so far, and even
Yeah,
though, like you said, it's pretty dark and serious, it's still pretty good.
I. How the fuck are they gonna do that on TV? That they're gonna have to rate the whole season 3 like TVMA. Like they had what's his name from Supernatural. He's coming in
Yeah.
to play. So that character he plays is like the boys' spoof on Captain America.
Right.
Um, and he makes his like first appearance, I believe, in Herogasm. And in Herogasm, he his whole like story arc is that he has like sex with Homelander to try and become a part of the Victory Crew. But like the Victor, but or not Vic. What are they called?
Yeah, the 7.
Yeah. And the entire time, like Homelander's just playing with him. He's like, "Oh, maybe next time. Don't worry about it." And then like next time, he like gives him a blowjob, and he's like, maybe next time you'll be a part of the crew."
Yeah.
And it's like, good lord.
I mean, that's again like the more like human aspects of it, like of somebody trying to get ahead in the world through not good means, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time,
Well, I think if the TV show is smart, what they would do with that story is just make. I think his name is like Soldier Boy,
yeah.
which is hilarious because that always reminds me of the rapper.
Soldier
If the
Boy.
TV show was smart, they would take Soldier Boy and just make him a gay character.
Right.
Because then Captain America is this hyper masculine, hyper patriotic, hyper American hero, and like what more of a commentary on America than having this guy that's still like a badass and patriot, but
Yeah.
he's gay. And I think if the TV show was smart, they would go that route.
Right.
I don't think his self-esteem is so low that he's willing to do gay things with Homelander, because I don't think that will transfer very well to screen.
Yeah, especially
That-
right now.
Yeah, that will.
That's a little bit of a dated
That will
concept.
get them in trouble. But if they did it right, where he's openly gay, but this like masculine, I'm Captain America, but I also like dudes.
Right.
I think that would go a lot smoother. Definitely. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to see.
Well, all right.
We're
let's-
hitting at 54 right now.
Sure. What do you think of this comic? Final reviews. Would you suggest it to people?
For now, if you're only gonna read volume 1, I think you could probably skip it.
Yeah.
I don't think you have to read this one. I you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah, it's fine. It's just fine.
Yeah.
And there are things already, like I said. So I've only read 3.
Mhm.
Of those 3, like this would be at the bottom for sure. This would be
Yeah.
number 3. Like there just are better things already that I've read, so I'm sure there's better things than those things that I've read right out there. Like
Yeah.
I would go for something better than this over this. If you got, time to kill on a toilet, why not? It only took me like an hour to read the damn thing.
Yeah, it's very short.
Yeah,
it's
it's
very
really
short.
So-
I think I would suggest it to anybody who's looking to get into the indie comic scene or trying to write more than that. I think if you're looking to write a story, I think this one has good beats of like how a story should progress.
Right.
And if you want to learn how to write I think this is a good one to read to understand how a comic story should develop. But I think there are better indie books to get into out there than this. There are tons that are better. And I think, like you said, I think you should read a little bit of the first volume just so you know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I think the later volumes are where it's at for this story. Because you have the fully fledged story going, but more elements are added in to give it more life, definitely.
Yeah, and maybe that's, something that we need to look at later on type thing, but
Yeah.
for now, I
now.
was just like,
For now, we're
it's
good."
not necessary. It's not necessary.
Well,
Probably okay.
definitely a good return episode.
Yeah. Yeah, we
Like,
talked
we-
about a billion
lot.
things.
Yeah, and that's okay.
And
fine.
that's okay.
That's what podcasts are about. We got cool, sick ass new intro and outro music. Shout out to my boy Josh. I'm gonna have his Spotify linked in the description of the YouTube channel. I don't think I can do it on the Spotify. Click links in the description of Spotify stuff, but I will have it linked in the YouTube one. So if you're on the YouTube one right now watching, click that link. Josh makes really good music and really fun music to listen to, and he created the outro and intro for us. Did you listen to that? I
I
sent that to you.
haven't been able to actually listen to it yet.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I just thought about that. Haven't been able to touch
Ah.
on it yet, so I'll have to listen to
Yeah.
it right after this.
It's good. Josh is amazing. We got on a Discord call and I just told him what I was thinking of what I wanted and what I wanted the music to sound like.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Okay, man, I'll get back to you." And within like 3 days, he was like, "Here's some samples." And the first sample, I was like, "This is exactly what I wanted. Like, this is amazing."
Perfect.
Well, and then now we don't have to get fucking copyrighted striked. How
Woo!
good is that?
Yeah,
And I paid Josh, so it's ours.
nice.
Woo!
And I paid Josh, so it's ours.
Yeah.
Well, cool, dude. I'm excited.
Yeah, definitely give it a listen when we're done here.
Yeah.
I want to see what you think. But other than that, this has been another episode, I guess.
Yeah, that's
No-
pretty much it. Bye,
No
everyone.
more no more
wait.
funny fart noises.
For sure, reading Amazing Spider-Man. Oh no, Ultimate Spider-Man.
Yes, next episode will be Ultimate Spider-Man as we dive into the Ultimate Universe. Whoa.
Whoa,
I think you'll like it. It's good.
I'm excited. I like Spider-Man. Okay, bye,
And,
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.